Hello and welcome to the News at 7, where we get to the heart of the day's stories and communities across Scotland. Tonight, Scotland's bid to qualify for next year's World Cup, the biggest stage in world football.
I'm live in Athens, where tomorrow Scotland could take a huge step closer to World Cup qualification.
Also, could we be seeing an easing of the rules around drinking at football matches? Aberdeen is the first Premiership club to be granted a licence to sell alcohol to fans inside a stadium in more than 40 years, but it comes with restrictions. And a review into abortion laws in Scotland calls the current system not fit for purpose. We will have all the sport with Sheila. And Sheila, I'm going to guess more Scotland build-up tonight?
You got it, Amy. We hear from Steve Clark out in Greece and speak to someone who knows all about qualifying for a World Cup with Scotland.
And how one young child carer from Scotland has made this year's Children in Need choir. Hello, I'm Amy Irons and welcome to the News at 7. Let's start tonight with football then, and Scotland, as we've been saying, are potentially just 2 matches from qualifying for next year's World Cup in the USA. Their first challenge is tomorrow evening when they face Greece in Athens, and this is what Scotland fans in the Greek capital had to say earlier.
I've never been to a World Cup with Scotland, so I was there at France '98, so it's been a lot to me personally to get to America or Canada and see Scotland playing a World Cup. I'm not getting any younger, so it might be my last.
It feels massive because obviously we've not experienced a World Cup. I know my mum and dad have, so we've all heard stories and we've watched documentaries about it, but it's so big. It's 180 minutes to qualify for a first World Cup. Can't describe it really.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and maybe suggest you weren't born the last time Scotland got to a World Cup.
Yeah, I definitely was not born the last time Scotland was at a World Cup, so the fact that I'd be able to see Scotland in a World Cup in my lifetime would obviously be something really special.
Not born in 1998, feeling very old. Someone else who was definitely here in 1998, our sports news correspondent Chris McLaughlin, who's in Athens. Chris, we say every Scotland game is a big game, but how do we sum this up?
Yeah, you're right. I'm going to brush over the 1998 quip. You're right. I mean, I was actually speaking, Amy, to our radio colleagues earlier today, and I was saying just that. Look, every Scotland game that I've covered lately has felt like a really big game, but I think tomorrow's game is the biggest for a while. Steve Clark's side just 2 games away from automatic qualification for the World Cup for the first time since 1998, a full 27 years ago. It's absolutely understandable why people are getting so excited about this. Avoid defeat against Greece here tomorrow, and it's a winner-take-all match against Denmark at Hampden on Tuesday. Can you imagine the nerves around Scotland for that match, Amy? Now, also, I think sometimes when you're on these trips you can sense a mood, a nervous energy, and there is that as well, but you know, beyond the bravado and beer that you usually get with the Tartan Army. And I think the fans are pretty nervous because they know just what's at stake, the magnitude of this week coming up. It's simply huge.
It really is. And Greece, I mean, they still have pride to play for, don't they, at this point in the group? How do you see them approaching this?
You're right, and you know, there is a feeling perhaps among some they've got nothing to play for, they might not be as up for it as Scotland, and yes, that's an argument, but having spoken to quite a number of journalists here, local journalists, to say, look, no, we want to finish this group as strongly as possible, also perhaps out for some revenge after that smash and grab Scotland 3-1 victory last month. So anyone who thinks the Greeks are not going to be up for it will be, I think, disappointed.
Chris McLaughlin in Athens for us. Thank you so much for joining us on the programme, and hopefully you'll be enjoying tomorrow night. We will have build-up and the match on BBC Scotland tomorrow from 7:15, and as part of tomorrow's Saturday show on BBC Radio Scotland, I've been speaking to Delamitri frontman Justin Curry on their infamous World Cup song, Don't Come Home Too Soon.
We got kind of coerced into it being the so-called official song, and that was kind of hell on earth, really. Because all of a sudden, something you've written that's just that's got a double meaning that's partly about, well, that is about the Scotland football team, but it can also be interpreted in a different way, suddenly became, it had to measure up against, you know, like really up Rod Stewart's World Cup songs.
And you can join me and Stephen on the Saturday show from 9 a.m. for that full interview tomorrow morning on BBC Radio Scotland and on Sounds. Let's stick with the football theme then and talk about alcohol at matches. For 44 years, fans in Scotland haven't been able to buy alcohol at stadiums unless they're in hospitality. It was banned after the 1980 Scottish Cup final between Celtic and Rangers, which turned into a riot. But now, Aberdeen will become the first club in the Scottish Premiership to take part in a scheme to trial serving alcohol with certain restrictions for an upcoming match against Kilmarnock. Championship side St Johnstone will also trial it next month, following similar pilots for lower league sides earlier this year. Well, Ben Phillip spoke to fans in Aberdeen to get their views.
Well, you drink in the pub, drink in the stadium when he goes to the football club. Not too bad a thing, is it?
I know a lot of people go down to games in England and they get it there and they seem to manage it, so hopefully Scottish the leagues can get back into it doing it again. I think it'd be a good thing. So,
do you remember what football was like in Scotland when they had alcohol? I mean, what do you think about it?
I didn't like it because they were throwing tins and weeing everywhere, and it wasn't a fine to take your kids in them days.
Well, the organisation which represents rank and file police officers in Scotland say they have some concerns.
We are concerned, obviously, with alcohol content for certain fans, and it's more the violence element that comes from football that causes the biggest concern. However, if they're trialling it, they'll have to, monitor it very carefully and make sure that those results are realised, and we have to wait and see what happens. What will be, will be.
Well, I spoke to John McLean from the Scottish Football Supporters Association about why the phased reintroduction of alcohol was happening now.
I mean, I would be speculating, but you have to have one eye in 2028 and an international football tournament coming to Scotland, and I think, 6 games at Hampden. It's probably going to look a bit odd to European visitors to Scottish football to see that this isn't a factor. I mean, I've been to matches in Germany and Spain, and the football over there is certainly much more, alcohol is there, it's a presence. Supporters are used to it. I would imagine that might be something to do with it, but I just think the passage of time, things have moved on, stadiums have evolved, the supporter experience has evolved. I think it's the right time to start looking at maybe cautiously reintroducing it.
And it is doing exactly that, isn't it? It's obviously a pilot scheme and it's a couple of games. From a fan's point of view, is it frustrating? Because you mentioned the fact, obviously, you can go abroad and drink quite openly at football games. You can have a drink in hospitality. You can drink at rugby games. Is it a frustration then for fans that it hasn't happened before now?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose you look back in the experience of the Scotland supporters in Germany of late, where that seemed to go down quite well with the locals. Quite a lot of strong bonds and associations were made there. I just think that as I said, the game has moved on and people have evolved, and I would like to think that this pilot will be the start towards some form of normality, because I think irrespective of what we all think, people will drink before the game. They're not going to be able to drink very much during the game, so I don't think it makes a huge amount of difference.
What would you say to anyone who has concerns, they've maybe seen some recent trouble surrounding, for example, like the Old Firm matches of late? What would you say to anyone that thinks, gosh, could we ever see? What if a minority of fans might ruin it for the majority? What would you say to that?
I think any sport. I mean, I've been at Murrayfield and there are people that misbehave or are slightly obnoxious. I mean, I think in any crowd there's going to be people that are, maybe spoiling it for everybody else. I mean, I generally feel as though we should be placing more trust in football supporters to behave responsibly. And I think, as I said earlier, the game is much more monitored and CCTV'd and controlled these days, and I think because of all of that, it's less likely that you're going to expose yourself to being caught and arrested and charged. So, I think just trust the supporters.
Yeah, we'll be keeping a close eye to see how it goes. John McLean, thank you so much for popping into the studio. Great to see you. Thank you. Well, Stephen Jardine was talking about this on his morning's programme today on BBC Radio Scotland, and here's what some of you had to say. Ronnie says people will drink before they go to the grounds to watch football. There's nothing you can do to restrict that, but in the ground maybe a quota should be used. To get a drink, you show your ticket and limit each ticket to 2 drinks. Well, Matthew in Kirkcaldy says, given we still have significant issues with alcohol across Scotland, it would be unwise to do so. When you contextualise it in that way, it sounds completely ridiculous, which it is. Football is a sport. Let's keep it that way. Now, Scotland's abortion laws are not fit for purpose and should be reformed to reflect a woman's right to choose, an expert review has found. The Scottish Government commissioned the independent report and is now considering whether abortion should be treated as a healthcare issue rather than one of criminal law. Our political correspondent Phil Sim has more.
As the law stands in Scotland, an abortion is only permitted before 24 weeks of pregnancy if 2 doctors agree that certain grounds have been met, such as a threat to the physical or mental health of the mother. The expert review group commissioned by the Scottish Government says that this law is not fit for purpose. They say it is anachronistic and paternalistic. They say that while that 24-week limit should be maintained, the law should recognise a woman's right to choose and that abortion should be available on request. Beyond 24 weeks, they say the doctor should still be involved, but the woman should not face any threat of criminal sanction. The Scottish Government says that it's going to consider this advice carefully and it's going to conduct its own evidence gathering, but it does talk about abortion as an issue of healthcare rather than criminal law, so I think their position is reasonably clear. But ultimately, a change in the law here would be a big deal. It would require primary legislation at Holyrood, probably months of debate. It would be a pretty emotive debate. We've already had anti-abortion groups talking about this as an extreme and inhumane change to the law. And that's just not going to happen on this side of the Holyrood election next May. So probably the next big thing to watch for in this debate is the manifestos that the parties come up with. The parties are hoping to get into government. What do they say they're going to do about these plans? Because that election, which oddly enough is in 24 weeks' time, is going to be crucial to shaping the future of this issue.
Phil Sim reporting. Let's get a roundup of the stories making the BBC News app in Scotland then. And chief executives at Scotland's 4 smallest councils are in line to get pay rises of as much as 24%. It's after a review into the pay of local authority bosses. A body has been found in the search for 25-year-old missing busker Lewis Cuthbert. The body was recovered from the River Clyde near Pacific Quay on Tuesday morning. Resident doctors in Scotland are balloting for strike action, claiming the Scottish Government went back on a pay agreement. Health Secretary Neil Gray says a fair offer has been made. And a large and unusual number of animal bones have been found following a wildfire in Edinburgh over the summer. It's thought they could date back to the 16th century. Well, for more information on all of these stories, you can scan the QR code on your screen now and it'll take you straight to the BBC Scotland News app. There is more for you there, including a group of cyclists who finished their challenge 40 years later. Well done to them. Now, the countdown to Christmas always starts with the arrival of one of the UK's largest Christmas markets in Edinburgh. Edinburgh Christmas opens its doors tomorrow and is expected to welcome over 2 million visitors between now and the 4th of January. It may have gained worldwide recognition, but organisers want to keep a local and Scottish feel to the event.
We've worked really hard in recent years again to bring in more local businesses. So 75% of the businesses now that are at the Christmas market are from Edinburgh and surrounding areas. So it gives that real local feel. And again, the arts and crafts, we make sure that they're the best that people get, because these are Christmas gifts they want to give to people. But again, they look great as well. And it looks great in images and on Instagrams. That's what people are coming here. We want to share that with everybody.
Now, Carol Munro from Turfin in Aberdeen is no ordinary grandmother. The 71-year-old has just come 3rd in her age group at the Hyrox World Championships in Chicago. And I'm pleased to say that Carol isn't too tired to give us her time and joins us now to talk about the achievements and exactly what Hyrox is. Carol, first of all, well done to you. Can you tell anybody who doesn't know exactly what Hyrox is and when you started doing this?
Hi. Well, it started 2023. My son decided to do a competition and said, do you want to go along with me? And I went, yeah, as usual. And he says, you don't know what it is. So I went and Googled it and I thought it was like Hyrox, like climbing, but it's not. It's actually a competition of running 8 kilometres. And every kilometre you have to do an extensive exercise and there's like 8 of them. So we did a mixed doubles and then I realised I had to do men's weights. So that was like a double whammy. So, but we did it in 1:30, so I was quite chuffed.
Honestly, Carol, I accidentally ended up in a Hyrox class, I need to say, at the gym once, and it was never again. It was absolute torture. Was this a case of, did you just want to prove your son wrong, or was it always something that you thought, I would like to compete in this, I'd like to do something like this?
Well, my son and I are we're all quite competitive, but I just said, yeah, I'll do it. And when I did it, I saw the women's as well, and I thought I'd like to do a women's solo, and thinking that would be easier, but it was just as hard. And then that's when I qualified for the World Championships in Chicago.
It's incredible. It's fair to say you're quite a sporty person. I know you've spoken to our producers today. They've passed that on to me, that you've done some other challenges. Where does this rank then?
It's just that I like doing anything it's going. Kayaking, sea swimming. We go everywhere, you know. We just, anything that we're confined to do, we just all do it as a family. We do zip wiring and everything.
You properly sound like a fun gran. I bet there's lots of people that wish they had you as a gran, Carol. Do you have any other plans for any other challenges now that you've done Hyrox?
No, I'm going to do it again in March. I've just had my 3rd hip operation, so I'm grounded just now. And I did have a competition in London, which I've had to put off. So my next one is in March in Glasgow. So I'm hoping I'm fighting fit for that. But I'm not going to give up, because I foolishly said that I was going to do a Hyrox competition with my granddaughter. So I've got to stay going. I've got to stay alive for another 4 years.
Carol, I was just about to ask you if any of the grandkids would be getting involved. How many grandkids have you got?
I've got 4 grandchildren, and I said I would do it with Eva, who lives in London. And then somebody said, well, you could do it with Emily, the other grandchild, and then Maisie. And I'm thinking, don't know if I'll be alive by then.
Carol, you will be. You absolutely will be. Super grand that you are. They're all going to want you involved. Carol, thank you so much, and well done to you. We'll be keeping an eye on the next challenge once that hip has properly healed. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
How fantastic is Carol? Right, still to come, we will see how the weather's looking with Chris and look ahead to tonight's Children in Need as well. But before that, it is sport time with Sheila. More Scotland build-up, I'm sure, Sheila.
Yep, they'd take inspiration from Carol there, I think. Yes, the time is nearly upon us. Scotland kick off a crucial double-header in their mission to secure an automatic spot at next summer's World Cup when they take on Greece in Athens tomorrow night. And this man, Steve Clarke, has been issuing a rallying cry this evening. At least
need more from every player, every player in the squad possibly got a part to play over the next couple of games. So we need them all at it. We need them all in Turkey. Most of them have now got a lot of experience of big games, what to expect and how best to prepare so that they can perform at their maximum. So you have to trust the players that they're going to get things right on the pitch. My approach is always the same every game. I prepare my teams to win. If you prepare to win and you play as well as you can, most of the times you don't lose.
Excited. It's a good spot for us to be in. I think everyone's excited, everyone's looking forward to it, and we've had a good week away, everyone together, abroad, got a bit of sun, and everyone was together for the full week, so it was enjoyable, but we got a lot of work done, and everyone's ready to go tomorrow night.
Well, earlier I spoke to former striker Darren Jackson, who was part of the last Scotland team to reach the World Cup finals in France back in 1998. And I started by asking him about the pressure that squad was under to make the tournament.
To be truthful, Sheila, there wasn't a lot of pressure. You just, listen, I played with big players who played for big clubs and played in massive games, so we handled the pressure, and I just went along with them, and thankfully we got through there. We had a really good qualifying campaign, really good results away from home, and in the end of the day we qualified, so it was fantastic.
How does that compare to now then, the pressure that must be on Scotland to try and get through?
Well, it's gathered pace over the years, and every year, every tournament comes along, everyone's saying, can we qualify for this one, can we qualify for this one? So it puts added pressure onto the players. But again, the players that are in there, the Robertsons and McTominays, McGinns, Tierneys, they play at big clubs. So they're used to big games, and they're used to having to win games. So they know what it's all about, they know what's needed, and I'm quietly confident that they'll do it.
2 games to go then. OK, we'll start with the first one. Greece tomorrow night. Only a point is really needed. How do you think Steve Clarke will approach it?
I don't know how we got the result against them at Hampden, but I'll take care of it.
Let's think positively then. Scotland get the point tomorrow night. Denmark on Tuesday. Can they do it in front of a packed Hampden?
Well, I think if they get the result tomorrow night, I think there's no doubt. I mean, the atmosphere will be absolutely unbelievable. Really looking forward to it. And as I say, they're on the brink, and I'm confident the players that there can handle the pressure and definitely take us to the World Cup.
Finally, what would it mean to have this squad, this team, the players that we've got just now back at the World Cup?
Well, it's for the country. It's for the players who are obviously going to perform at the tournament, but it's for the country as well. It's a feel-good factor again. We're back to the World Cup. It's back to where we should be. So there is that added pressure that they've got in the nations, but as I say, the boys play for big clubs. They have pressure every week, and I'm sure they can handle it.
Former Scotland striker Dan Jackson speaking to me earlier, and he was very positive there. Well, you can read lots more build-up to that big match for Scotland on the BBC Sports Scotland website. And you can also read about the Scotland rugby team's clash with Argentina at Murrayfield on Sunday. And of course, you can watch the big game tomorrow right here on this very channel.
Are you getting nervous yet?
Yes.
It'll be here before we know it. Let's hope we're smiling on Monday and then Wednesday as well.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you very much. Now, as you'll have noticed, this year's Children in Need is in full swing. And on tonight's programme, we'll be hearing from the Children in Need Choir, a group of singers who are supported by the charity. One of those in the choir is Autumn. She helps care for her mum and half-sister. Here is her story.
My name is Autumn and I'm taking part in the BBC Children in Need Choir.
Mum, do you want a cake?
I have two homes. I live at my mum's and at my dad's.
Yes, please.
I live with my sister. We're both young carers. My mum has a condition called MS.
It's a neurological condition. It's a progressive condition. The main things that I have are a lot of fatigue, a lot of tingling sensations in my legs and my hands. I can be quite clumsy when I'm walking. I can fall over.
It can be quite difficult sometimes, but you kind of learn how to help.
She'll help with preparing meals for herself and her sister, and for me. She'll make sure I'm okay, she'll check in with me. She's only 12 years old, and it's a lot for her to take on. But she also goes to her dad's. There's a lot for her to help with there as well.
I help out with my half-sister Erin. When she was younger, she had a bit of an accident, and now she has epilepsy and other brain damage. A normal day, Dad's with Erin, is lots of music, and she really likes when we paint her nails.
Autumn's great at helping out just whatever needs done, Eve. The simple things from a hug to helping feed Erin. Sometimes just calming her and just being that sister that can do pretty much the all-round sisterly duties.
What helps me when it gets too much is probably Stitch the Gap, which is where I go for my sewing class.
Stitch the Gap provides young carers like Autumn a safe space to come along, forget about their responsibilities, make new friends, learn a life skill and just enjoy meeting like-minded people.
I feel like I can talk to the people there. When I'm sewing, it's really helped with my concentration, and I feel like I can help out a lot more because I've had that relaxing time.
Children in Need funding actually helped us keep the doors open. Without their funding, we wouldn't be able to run classes every single week.
Thanks, Children in Need.
Thanks, Children in Need!
Oh, how incredible is Autumn? And you can see her and the Children in Need Choir on BBC One this evening. Now let's see how the weather is looking. And Chris, I did remember everything you told me yesterday, so I packed the jacket today because it's getting very cold, isn't it?
You need to keep it out for at least a week.
Oh, no, I don't like that.
Let me show you some Weather Watcher pictures today because beautiful blue skies there over Kilt Rock on the Isle of Skye near Staffin, but that looks a bit wintry, doesn't it? Fairly frequent showers in towards the Inverness area earlier did turn fairly wintry, quite a snowy scene for some, and some shower clouds fairly frequent elsewhere. But let me show you what's happening this weekend because it is going to be cold. Yeah, this is the air mass graphic. So you can see the cold air situated to the north and high pressure. That'll work its way in. So this weekend, generally dry, bright and chilly, but you can see just the chance of a few showers at times. So first thing tomorrow, we have a lot of cloud around across parts of southern Scotland in towards Dumfries and Galloway, in towards parts of Lanarkshire and the southeast. Elsewhere, it's dry with some sunshine and a few showers arriving there on those east-northeast winds. As we head through the course of the day, we'll hold on to that cloud across southern Scotland, but elsewhere dry with some sunshine and still breezy from the east, certainly across southern Scotland. Temperatures not quite as low as today, with afternoon highs reaching around 6 to 9 Celsius, maybe 10 through Edinburgh towards Dundee. And then as we go into Sunday, we've got this cold front working its way southwards and the winds now more northerly. So temperatures coming back down again, and that weather front will produce a few showers. You can see it there on the chart, this line of cloud and showers working their way southwards, wintry at elevation, occasionally to lower levels. To the south of it, dry with some sunshine. To the north of it, dry but increasingly cold, perhaps some icy patches around as well. And looking into next week, those cold north winds are sticking with us. It will give quite a bitter feel at times. This is Monday now, and you can see those north winds feeding in some cloud, a few showers, but generally dry and fine through the central lowlands in the south, albeit chilly. Temperatures 4 to 6 Celsius as the afternoon high. And that cold air coming to us all the way from the Arctic, it's not going to be warm at all, is it? That's one ingredient, but perhaps if you add in a bit of moisture, we could well end up with a wintry picture. But the weather models are not in agreement yet, so it's one to watch. But we could see a spell of snow fairly widely Tuesday into Wednesday. So this is the outlook for next week. It's cold, yes. Just take a look at Inverness there, 2, 3, 4 Celsius. Chilly elsewhere with some showers. Those could be wintry. That's the forecast.
I don't think I'm ever prepared for the words Arctic blast.
I know.
But not in mid-November.
Sorry, it's coming.
Oh, it is coming. There's nothing we can do to avoid that, Christopher. Thank you very much. As always, thank you to you for being with us. That is all from the news at 17. Remember that all-important Scotland World Cup qualifier against Greece is live on this channel tomorrow. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.